Hi, my name is Cody Abrupta, and today we're going to talk about ADA inspection. So basically what happens is engineers design a building or structure or, development, and they have to meet certain rules to ensure that the building or structure or development is accessible by Americans with disabilities. Basically, think wheelchair, low vision, impaired hearing, things like that. And so the engineer is supposed to design it such that, there are certain regulations that they have to meet. And when the project is completed, when the project is constructed, we need to verify that these conditions are being met as well. So what are you going to need to do this? Well, it helps to have a site plan. Right here I have a printout of a site plan. It's got some elevations on here. One of the ways that you can do the ADA inspection is to have an as-built survey done of the property. That survey should include all of the different handicap ramps, accessible routes, etc. Another way to do the verification is to go out with a smart level, which is what we have here, right? This is a smart level. That's what we're going to be using to verify the slopes for these ADA ramps. It's also helpful to have some type of guidelines. So for this, I have the Somerset County Engineering Curb Ramp Evaluation Instructions, which basically outlines all of the important ADA requirements that I'm going to be checking. Basically the things like the landing pad should be at least 4 feet by 4 feet. It should have no greater than a 2% slope in any direction for the landing pad. Ramps along the accessible route have to be 8.33% or less. Numbers like that. It's important to know those numbers so that way when you're checking the slope, you're, ensuring that you're, verifying the correct details. Again, this is the Somerset County Engineering, evaluation sheet. That's, we're working in Somerset County right now. I don't know if your own county has a sheet like this. But I'm fairly certain that the ADA regulations are on the federal level, so they really shouldn't be changing county to county, state to state. But just be aware of all local, state, and federal regulations when you're doing these inspections. Anyway, having a site plan, having some type of guide for the numbers that you're going to need. It's also helpful to have a tape measure to make sure that you've got a 4x4 landing pad, and then also for the, there are other regulations like you're allowed a 12.5% slope for a 3-inch rise for a certain number of distance for like 5 feet or something like that. So it's used for checking some of those other regulations. And then finally, this is our smart level. I pointed this out earlier. The smart level, basically how it works is you turn it on, you calibrate it first. It's already been calibrated for me. You turn it on, and you can change whether it's reading slope, percentage, or degrees, or other things. Right now I have it set to percent because that's what I care about. All right, and then basically if you set up this smart level anywhere, it will tell you the slope, there we go, of whatever you lay it on. All right, and that's what we're going to use to verify the measurements. So let me show you just a little bit of what this ADA verification would look like. All right, so right here we have an ADA detectable warning surface. Basically what this is, and again, it's usually this color. There are some states and some areas where they use a different color, but this is the color that's really common in New Jersey. It's basically a raised surface. So if you look at it, these little circles, they're actually bumps. The surface is raised so that people with low vision can feel this with their feet or with their cane and let them know that they're about to step onto an active roadway. All right, it's super important. So one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to verify that all of the curb ramps that enter the road or enter the parking area have a detectable warning surface on them. All right, the size is pretty standard. I think it's like 2x6, something like that, or 2x4. Anyway. You also want to check the landing pad. All right, the landing pad has to be at least 4 feet by 4 feet. In this case, this entire surface is going to be the landing pad. And if you look here, I put my smart level on the landing pad, and I'm getting 1.4%. Now I'm also going to check the cross slope here. So I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and you should also get something that is less than 2%. In this case, it's 0.2%, which means that this is a passing landing pad and curb ramp. Now, along the accessible route, there are going to be ramps. You want to ensure that these ramps are 8.33% or less. So you can see here, this ramp is at 8%, 8.1%. So that's considered passing for our records. You also want to check the cross slope to make sure the cross slope does not exceed 2%. In this case, we're at 1.2%, which is considered passing. Again, this is a ramp that somebody in a wheelchair or somebody with a disability would have to use to get to this building. So it's very important to make sure that all of these are up to code. Again, you can see where we were checking the curb ramp over there. They come up the side. There's a landing pad, a landing surface over here that's at least 4x4. In this case, it's a little bit larger, and it's less than 2% in all directions. And then you come to this ramp, which again, doesn't seem like much, but when you come from the side, you can see that it does definitely go up, and that's something that we have to check. All right, again, I would also be checking on top of the ramp to make sure that there's a landing pad. This is, we're at nice 0.4% here. Checking the cross slope here. Again, we're at less than 2%. All right, so the landing pad at the top is good. And I would basically check all along the area where somebody in a wheelchair or somebody with a disability would be walking or wheeling or traversing, just to make sure that we're meeting the adequate slopes that are associated with those areas. All right. So again, I would walk that entire route and I would make sure of all of that. Now on this particular site, they haven't done the final pave yet, so there are no handicap parking spaces yet. Normally there would be handicap parking spaces, and that's something else that I would be checking for. All right, handicap spaces have similar slope requirements, 2% max in all directions. But again, those aren't present at this time. That's something else you would check though during a ADA ramp inspection. All right, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.